Have you ever had one of those brilliant ideas? You know, the kind that feels so real you can almost touch it, but then nothing happens. It just stays an idea. Well, today, we're going to break down the one thing that can take those powerful thoughts and turn them into real, actual, world-changing things.
And we have to start right here with this absolutely massive idea from Napoleon Hill's classic Think and Grow Rich. I mean, this guy spent more than 20 years studying the most successful people on the planet, and what he found was that every single great achievement, every fortune, every invention started as nothing more than a simple thought.
So that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? If a thought is the starting line, what's the vehicle that actually gets it into the real world? There's got to be some kind of bridge that takes an idea from being just in your head to being something you can hold in your hand.
And that bridge is exactly what we're going to look at right now. We are mapping out the entire journey, from that initial spark all the way to its final concrete form.
So what is it? What's the secret sauce? It's a compelling story. Seriously, a story is what gives an idea shape. It gives it a heartbeat. It gives it the momentum it needs to get out of your head and into the world.
Okay, but why stories? What is it about a good narrative that has such a grip on us? Let's dig into the science here, the psychology of why our brains are, fundamentally hardwired to love a good story.
It all starts right here. I mean, a list of facts and figures, that might be informative, sure, but a story with a hero, a struggle, a resolution, that creates a real emotional connection. It makes us feel something.
And that feeling? Well, that's like superglue for your brain. Think about it. You don't remember every single fact you've ever read, but you absolutely remember the stories that moved you, right? Emotion is what makes an idea stick.
And this is where it all comes together. When an idea is emotionally charged and memorable, that's when it has the power to make us do something. It stops being just passive information and becomes a catalyst for real change. So the chain is simple. Story leads to emotion leads to memory, and memory, well, that leads to action.
So, to sum it up, stories are just these incredibly efficient little brain hacks. They engage our imagination, they're super memorable, especially when you add visuals. That 60,000 times faster stat is just wild. They feel relatable, tapping into how we've shared wisdom for thousands of years, and they teach us things without us even feeling like we're in a classroom. Napoleon Hill had this amazing phrase for it. He called imagination the workshop of the mind. And a story? Well, a story is the blueprint you use in that workshop. It's the framework that takes all your brilliant, maybe even chaotic thoughts and gives them a structure that other people can see, understand, and most importantly, believe in.
Okay, so we get it. We know why stories are so powerful. Now, let's get practical. How do you actually build one? Here's a modern, super simple 3-step blueprint you can use to start crafting your own story and bring your idea to life.
First up, the brief. You have to get crystal clear on what you're trying to achieve and who you're talking to. Then, the script. This is where you actually write it down. And don't just list facts. Shape your message into a real narrative. And third, the storyboard. You have to visualize it. Break your script into key scenes. And seriously, don't worry about being an artist. Stick figures totally work.
And this is exactly what a storyboard does. It translates your written words into a visual plan. It makes sure that everyone, whether it's your team, your investors, or just you, has the exact same vision of the story you're telling before you pour a ton of time and energy into building it for real.
All right, now for the really fun part. Let's look at a masterclass in how all these principles work in the real world, using some of the most powerful stories right from Think and Grow Rich. And these aren't just little anecdotes. They are perfectly crafted narratives, each designed to make one powerful point absolutely unforgettable.
The very first principle Hill drills into us is this idea of a burning desire. And he's very clear, this is not just a wish, this isn't just wanting something, this is an all-consuming obsession. It's a state of mind where failure isn't even an option, because you've already eliminated any possibility of retreat.
And to illustrate this, he tells this incredible story. A great warrior lands his army on an enemy's shore. He knows they're outnumbered, so what does he do? He gives the order to burn their own ships. Then he turns to his men and says, "You see the boats going in smoke? We now have no choice. We win or we perish." And you know what? They won. Now that is a story that makes the idea of a burning desire impossible to forget.
Okay, let's look at another one. This is the story of R.U. Darby, a gold miner. He strikes gold, which is awesome, but then the vein disappears. He digs and digs, finds nothing, and decides it's over. That's a failure consciousness. So he quits and sells all his equipment to a junk man who's operating from a success consciousness. The junk man doesn't just start digging blindly, he seeks out expert advice.
And here is the punchline. The expert engineer tells him the gold is just 3 feet from where Darby had stopped drilling. The junkman went on to take millions from that mine, all because he didn't give up at the first sign of what Hill calls temporary defeat. What an incredible story about persistence.
Next up, Hill makes this crucial point that knowledge is only potential power. It only becomes actual power when it's specialized, organized, and aimed directly at a specific goal. Just knowing a bunch of random stuff isn't enough.
The perfect story for this involves Henry Ford. So during a big trial, some lawyers were trying to prove Ford was ignorant by just grilling him with all these general knowledge questions he couldn't answer. They were trying to paint this picture of him as uneducated.
Finally, Ford gets fed up and delivers this legendary response. He points out that he has a row of buttons on his desk and can summon an expert to answer literally any question related to his business. His genius wasn't knowing everything himself, but in knowing how to organize and direct the people who did. That is specialized knowledge in action.
So we've seen the whole journey, right? How a thought becomes a thing, why our brains are just wired for story, and how the masters of success have used narrative to make their goals a reality. So now, the only question that's really left is, what story will you tell?
Here is your path, all laid out. You start with that burning desire, that non-negotiable obsession. Then you use that 3-step blueprint, brief, script, storyboard, to give your idea a narrative form. You gather and apply the specialized knowledge you need, and you just refuse to give up through those inevitable setbacks. That is the formula.
Every great achievement you see in the world started as just a thought that was then molded into a story so compelling it inspired action. Your ideas, right now, have that exact same potential. The only thing left to ask is, what story will you tell to bring them to life?